Hey y'all, Father Jim Haney from St. Paul's in the Plains in Lubbock and Texas Tech Canterbury. I'm standing here in the mountains near Cloudcroft, New Mexico, looking out at the Tularosa Basin. It's a little bit hazy today. You might not be able to see it too well in the camera, but trust me, it's right out there, right behind me. I can see the mountains behind it, and in between are the White Sands Missile Range, White Sands National Monument, just right out there. If you were standing here about 72 years ago, one July night in 1945, you would have seen something very odd out there. There would have been a glow about 40 miles away as the crow flies. You might even be able to see a little bit of fire. That is Trinity Site out there, the site of the first detonation of the first nuclear bomb, the first atomic bomb. They only had 3 atomic bombs. They tested one at Trinity Site. They dropped the second on Hiroshima. They dropped the third on Nagasaki, ending World War II. If the Japanese hadn't surrendered, we were out of atomic bombs. They built 3, they used 3, and that was it. It would have taken a long, long time to build more. But famously, that July night at Trinity, when Robert Oppenheimer, the father of the A-bomb, saw the giant fireball, a bigger explosion than any of the physicists were expecting, something just enormous, he quoted from the Hindu scriptures, "I am become death, the destroyer of worlds." I am become death, the destroyer of worlds, a famous quote by Oppenheimer. Ironically, though, it's a little bit out of context. In fact, it's a lot out of context. Oppenheimer, I'm presuming, and I have not read extensively about his motivations in saying that, Oppenheimer was overawed by the experience of this huge, huge fireball and explosion that he had birthed along with his scientists. The quote, though, is from the Hindu god Krishna. The Hindu god Krishna is appearing to a general. He's been in disguise as a regular human being, but he appears in all of his terrible majesty and is just a huge, overwhelming sight. And he says, "I am become death, the destroyer of worlds." And in that quotation, the point is, General, don't worry about the wars you have to fight. Your wars are insignificant compared to my power. I am the one who creates the world. One day I'll be the one who will destroy worlds. So it's a little bit odd that Oppenheimer would quote that. Yes, he unleashed an amazingly terrible power in the atomic bomb. It did end World War II, which is a good thing, and yet we still live in the shadow of the mushroom cloud. Growing up in the Cold War, as I did, I remember the fear that the Soviets would send nuclear bombs our way, and that mutually assured destruction would happen in World War III. And today we're still afraid of nuclear weapons. Now it's not superpowers, but it's rogue states like North Korea. What will Kim Jong-il do with his nuclear weapons and missiles? We are afraid of that. No, he won't be able to wipe out the entire country, but he could wreak some real damage and real havoc. And so we live still in the shadow of Oppenheimer's mushroom cloud. But I think Oppenheimer got it wrong, and the Hindu scriptures actually got it right. The ability to create and destroy does not belong to human beings. We share in some of that power, but ultimate creation and ultimately the end of the universe is in God's hands. I don't believe it's in the hands of Krishna, but I do believe it is in the hands of the living God, the God and Father of our Lord Jesus Christ. And in the 33rd Psalm, there's a wonderful passage. It's talking about God's mighty power. It's talking about how we should respect and be in awe of God and his power to create. And it says, "Happy are the people whose God is the Lord. Happy the people he has chosen to be his own." And then the psalmist goes on and says, "There is no king that can be saved by a mighty army. A strong man is not delivered by his great strength. A horse is a vain hope for deliverance. For all its strength, it cannot save." The chariot the horse pulled was the super weapon of the psalmist's day. And yet even that is a vain hope for deliverance. It is God who is the only hope for salvation, for ultimate safety. It is God who is in charge of the universe, the powers of creation, the ultimate powers of bringing the universe to a close. And so I would leave you with that thought. Do not fear. Yes, terrible things have happened in the past. Terrible things will happen. But our world, our universe is in the hands of our good and loving God. Our security does not come through armies or horses or tanks or atomic bombs. It comes through trust in the living God. God bless and have a wonderful day.